If you're anything like me, you've probably fallen victim to concerning yourself with metrics that other people see. Like on Spotify, your followers, your average monthly listeners, your stream count. These are the numbers that everybody else can see. And so when they're higher, it looks good, right? You look like you're doing well, you look like you're succeeding, and this makes you feel good because what you're putting out into the world seems to be resonating, at least in the eyes of others. But what really matters more than all those numbers is profit. Are you making money off of your music? Are you earning revenue? Are you generating money in your pocket from your work? The only way to do that is what I like to refer to as the snowball effect, which is this consistent growth over time of earning new followers, earning new fans, and ultimately earning new customers so that your business, and you are a business, can become profitable over time. So in this video, we are going to take a look at the snowball effect and how it works and how you can move from a position of paying for promotion to earning money off of your music. So let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's Tom. Welcome back to the lab. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my life. Today we are in part 8 of our 11-part series, Top 10 Mistakes When Using Facebook Ads to Promote Your Music on Spotify. If you've watched the original video, the top 10 mistakes I've made, you can check that out right here. If you haven't, if you've watched that video, you'll know that number 8 was about pausing your campaigns for too long so that they re-enter the learning phase. That bullet point in that video didn't quite have enough meat to it for me to create a full video around that. I sort of started this whole series off on a bit of a whim. I did that original video and I thought to myself, hey, this could turn into a really cool series. I'll just do a video on all of these. So this one was not as dense, was not as information dense as the rest of them. So I'm sort of springboarding off of that and turning this concept of keeping your campaigns going so that they don't re-enter the learning phase and sort of transferring over to a conversation about revenue and profitability as an artist. What I want to do is walk you through a sort of presentation here that I've put together to illustrate this concept of the snowball effect and how we can take our business as an artist from being a money pit and turn it into a money machine. So let's dive in. Now, if you watched last week's video on keeping your good ad campaigns going, which if you haven't, you can check that out here, you'll recognize this first slide. This first slide is an indication of how I like to structure my campaign so that I always have an ad campaign running. And as it relates to the bullet point from the original video, for this video, I like to keep my ad campaigns running because if you pause them longer than 7 days, they will turn off and you'll lose all the data and they'll re-enter the learning phase. You can pause an ad campaign for up to 7 days and it won't re-enter the learning phase. But if you do it for longer than that, it will re-enter the learning phase and you've basically lost your data that you had in that campaign. So rather than pausing and unpausing and worrying about whether or not I'm going to re-enter the learning phase, I like to stagger my campaigns like this. And this allows me to keep the best ad campaign consistently running. Now, why do we want to keep all these ad campaigns staggered and consistently on all the time? Why wouldn't we just start a campaign for a release, turn it off, start a new one for the next release, turn it off, and just do it like that? Well, the reason is because you want to be building followers on Spotify. Followers is the metric that matters the most because followers are listeners. Followers are guaranteed algorithmic playlist placements on release day, and enough followers over time will decrease the amount of money you have to spend on ads to send traffic to your profile. Once you've built up a large enough fan base on the platform, you have created enough leverage to trip the algorithms every single time without having to spend $1. So let's pick through what that looks like. When you first start releasing music on Spotify, your follower count is going to be like this. Tiny or nothing. Like maybe your mom followed you, maybe your best friend followed you, maybe your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend followed you. Maybe they didn't, but you're not going to have many starting out. You're going to have 0 to very few followers. And so to compensate for that, when you drop a song, if you want anybody to listen to it, you're going to have to spend some money to get people to your profile to listen to your song. Because anybody you drive there organically is likely going to already know you and will be following you. So to get new followers, you're going to have to spend money and post organically to try to get new traffic there. But for this video, we're going to focus on ad spend. So you've got minimal followers and you're having to compensate for that with a greater amount of ad spend. Followers plus those ads is going to turn into listeners. So followers plus ad spend equals listeners. And listeners on the platform on Spotify turn into streams. And streams is what we're after because streams generates revenue. And revenue is the point. We want to generate revenue from our music, money in our pocket, because that money in our pocket is money we can use to promote the next release. Now, the problem is when you first start out and you have very little followers, your ad spend to revenue relationship looks like this. Your revenue is less than your ad spend. And if your revenue is less than your ad spend, that's a loss. You're losing money. And nobody likes to lose money. That makes us sad. So instead of losing money, we want to flip that around so that we are spending less on ads than we're earning. We want it to look like this ultimately, where our revenue is greater than our ad spend. Because if our revenue is greater than our ad spend, then that equals profit. And profit makes us happy. I'm sorry with the emojis, y'all. I had to do it. What we want to do is go from this setup right here where we have minimal followers, lots of ad spend, listeners that turn into streams that then becomes revenue, and flip it around so that our followers are so many that our ad spend is minimal. And when our ad spend is minimal like this, we have the same equation where followers plus ad spend equals listeners, which becomes streams, which becomes revenue. When it is set up like this, we end up with this, where our revenue is greater than our ad spend once again. So when we go back to this setup and we're staggering our releases and we're staggering our campaigns and we're keeping the best one going, we are constantly growing that snowball. Think about a snowball when it rolls downhill. It's constantly picking up a few more bits of snow to where it grows and grows and grows. And eventually, the snowball becomes so big that it can actually run over a person. That's not what we're advising here, but just for analogy's sake. You want to generate a gigantic snowball of followers, fans, and listeners who are on Spotify. You don't want to have to work every single release to pull people from Instagram, pull people from YouTube, pull people from Twitter, your email list. You want them to be ready for your music on the platform. You want them to already be listening to you on Spotify and paying attention to you on Spotify. And the best way to do that is to turn them into followers. That doesn't mean that every release you don't tell everybody everywhere else. You absolutely do. You have to remind people every single time, like, hey, I have new music out. You want to do that, but what you want to focus on is building that leverage on the platform. Because if you create enough leverage on the platform, as I said before, you are basically guaranteeing the ability to trip algorithms the moment you drop a song without having to spend a penny. So what we want to do is go back to this setup where your revenue is greater than your ad spend, because this leads to profit. And when you are profitable as a business, then you can take that money and put it back into promotion. And that is the point where you can scale up. Your marketing efforts can increase. Your growth will increase at a more rapid rate and compound interest will begin to take place, and you can become bigger, faster as a business, as an artist, make more money, earn more fans, earn a bigger following. And at that point, you are more comfortable and you can spend all of your time doing only this instead of pulling money from your job, pulling money from your savings, wherever you get it from to dump it into ads. Now it just comes from Spotify. And we have a cycle. You're profitable. And profitability is what we're after. So that's it for this video. Remember, metrics are important. It's important to know what's going on with your music. It's important to know what's going on with your social media accounts. You want to be aware of these stats. You want to be aware of how many followers, monthly listeners, streams, and all that you're getting. But I encourage you, based on my own experience of worrying about these things, don't concern yourself so much with the forward-facing metrics and worry about what other people think about that. Who cares what people think about how many listeners you have or how many streams you're getting? What you're trying to do is build a business. The thing that we are really, really focusing on here is revenue, which in turn becomes profit, because profitability will ultimately lead to being able to do this full-time, all the time, building a career, doing exactly what you want to be doing, and spending your time every single day just doing the things you want to do. Now, before you go, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this. If you really dig it, share it with your friends. I'd love for anybody who you think it might help to see it. That would be awesome. At the end here, if you want to check out this entire series from the beginning, the full playlist, you can check that out up top. And then at the bottom is the previous video in this series from last week. So thanks for being here. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.